The Tale of Hansel and Gretel. There once was a poor woodcutter who had two young children named Hansel and Gretel. When famine struck the land, the woodcutter and his wife decided they could no longer feed the children. They must take them into the woods and leave them there to fend for themselves. Hiding in their bedroom, Hansel and Gretel overheard the plan. After their parents went to bed, Hansel snuck outside the house and gathered as many shiny white pebbles as he could, then returned to his room, reassuring Gretel that he had a plan of his own. The next day, the children were given a small piece of bread and taken into the woods. As the family walked deeper and deeper into the woods, Hansel dropped the white pebbles, one by one, to leave a trail back home. After their parents abandoned them, Hansel and Gretel stayed in the woods until nightfall, when the rising moon shone down and revealed the white pebbles, shining in the dark. The children then safely followed the trail back home, much to their parents' rage. Once again, food became scarce, and the parents decided to take the children even farther into the woods and leave them there. Hansel and Gretel overheard, and Hansel tried to gather more pebbles, but he found that the bedroom door was locked. The following morning, the parents gave them a smaller piece of bread and took them back into the woods. As the family walked deeper and deeper into the woods, Hansel tore small pieces from his bread and left a trail of crumbs to follow back home. But, after they were once again abandoned, they found that birds had eaten the crumbs, and they were truly lost in the woods. After days and days of wandering, the children followed a dove to a clearing where they found a cottage with bread walls, a cake roof, and sugar windows. Hungry and tired, Hansel and Gretel began to eat the house. When the door opened, an elderly woman emerged. She took the children inside, giving them delicious food to eat and soft beds to sleep in. What the children did not know is that their kind hostess was not kind at all, but an evil witch who had built a bread house to lure them inside so she could cook and eat them. The next morning, the witch locked Hansel in the stable and enslaved Gretel. The witch fed Hansel regularly to fatten him up, but served Gretel nothing but crab shells. Each day, the witch would try to touch Hansel's finger to see how fat he had become. But he was a clever boy. Instead, he offered a thin bone he had found in his cage. As the witch's eyes were too weak to notice the deception, she was fooled into believing that Hansel was still too thin for her to eat. After 4 weeks of this, the witch grew impatient and decided to eat Hansel anyway. As she prepared the oven for Hansel, she decided she was hungry enough to eat Gretel too. She coaxed the little girl to open the oven and asked her to lean over in front to see if the fire was hot enough. Gretel, sensing the witch's intent, pretended she did not understand. Frustrated, the witch demonstrated, and Gretel instantly shoved her into the hot oven, slammed and bolted the door shut, and left the witch to burn. Gretel freed Hansel from the stable, where the pair discovered boxes full of pearls and precious stones. With the witch's wealth, the children lived happily ever after.